You would be aware that the federal government's new website, the new Price Check website, is up and running, and there are inspectors going into supermarkets around the state looking at prices and putting them on the federal government's website to assist you, the consumer, as to how prices compare from region to region. An inspector turned up at a little supermarket in Pyalba today, but things did not go exactly to plan. Scott Driscoll is with the Queensland Retailers Association. Scott Driscoll, what happened?
Look, what happened today was a real travesty for information and for consumers and pushing prices down. We had a situation in Pyalba, as you say, where the shop owner was confronted with some ACCC inspectors which were going to be coming in and doing a survey of their stock. They were told that they could be in there for 8 hours. The policy of that store, as with most good businesses of that nature, is to have an OH&S policy that protects people while they're in that store. Now, the ACCC inspector was told that, look, by all means, come in, do what you've got to do, we'll cooperate, but if you're going to be in here for any number of hours pulling things on and off stores, we're going to have one of our staff with you, making sure that we all comply with OH&S. Now, they spat the dummy, left, and basically informed the shop owner that they had a message from senior management within the ACCC to go and target somebody else. So unfortunately in Pyalba you're going to actually have a situation where the figures are all skewed because no one else in Pyalba is of a large size supermarket.
I spoke to the ACCC late this afternoon, Scott Driscoll, and they said the reason why it couldn't be carried out was because the price checking needs to be done confidentially. In other words, the person needs to be able to look at the prices in the store without being hindered or, monitored in any way, so that they can put a fair price, an accurate price on the website.
Steve, that just strikes me as an absolute nonsense. I mean, these things are the prices that are set by those stores. So, you know, I think to suggest that it's going to be a mystery or something secret to the staff within that store, what indeed are the prices within their store, that just absolute smacks of bureaucracy gone mad. And aside from the fact that if they're sort of trying to be a bit cloak and dagger about this and just not let people know what they're monitoring, what do you think those closed-circuit TV cameras are going to be doing and being able to be, if that's all people want to do, and see what sort of goods and stock that they're indeed monitoring? I mean, I see that as an absolute nonsense.
So you believe it was simply because they didn't want to comply with OH&S? They say it's because they didn't want someone monitoring what they were doing.
Look, as I say, I just can't for the life of me understand how that sort of logic can be, utilised. Now, that's probably not surprising if people have noticed what I've been saying about this website, because quite frankly it's entirely skewed. There's a $14 million website that is basically a free kick and a free ad for Coles and Woolworths at the expense of Australian family-owned independent businesses. And what happened up in Pyalba is you had a large independent retailer basically trying to say, if anyone is in our store and they're pulling things on and off shelves and they're hanging around for any number of hours, you have to either have been inducted into our OH&S scheme or be with somebody who is. Now, that's good business. That's being safe. That's making sure that there's the duty of care that's being adhered to. So, you know, they've run away with their clipboard and basically spat the dummy and gone and targeted some smaller independent retailer. So the figures up there in Pyalba are going to be utterly skewed because you're going to have a big full range Coles, a big full range Woolworths, and some small corner store all being compared against, and that's just complete nonsense.
When I spoke to the spokesperson from the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission late this afternoon, they said the prices they compare are average prices for the region, not for a particular town as such, but for the region. Does that alleviate your concerns at all?
Well, no, it doesn't, because, again, your thinking listeners are going to sort of, if they've seen this website, you'll realise that there's a section for Coles, a section for Woolworths, a section for Aldi, and then a section called Independents. Now, there can be any number of independents in any one town or region. Now, if this is actually designed, as the government alleges, to actually be a tool for consumers to make sure that they can best spend their grocery dollars and pay the best possible price, then I would put it to people to think about this. If the independents column is the dearest, who indeed does that mean is the dearest? When you've got varying sized independents under varying banners or brands, and if they're the best, who indeed's the best? So, you know, if this is is an absolute nonsense. I've told Chris Bowen this. Chris Bowen has virtually turned around and said, look, it's an election promise. My message to the government is, look, there's a time for campaigning and a time for leadership. The campaign's finished. Let's do something for the independent retail sector. Let's do something for consumers. If you're serious about it, this whole website thing's just got to go. Put the money after something that's actually going to be far more effective.
Scott Driscoll, thank you.
Thanks.
Scott Driscoll is the spokesperson for the Retail Association of Queensland.